So I get a lot of questions. How does a Chapter 13 work? What's involved in a Chapter 13? Well, I'm attorney Stuart Sanowitz, and I'm here to explain the process of Chapter 13. First of all, I will tell you that there's a lot of uses for Chapter 13, and we'll cover those in a separate video. The first step in any bankruptcy course, whether it be Chapter 7, 11, 13, for an individual, is that they have to take a pre-bankruptcy credit counseling course. Congress made this requirement back in 2005. And while I personally think it's a waste of an hour, it's something that's required to do. So anybody who's going to consider filing bankruptcy needs to take the class, go online. You do it takes about an hour. The last 10 or 15 minutes is on the telephone. It costs usually about $20. And the certificate that needs to be filed with the case is good for 180 days. Once people do that, once people have the class, you sit down with the bankruptcy attorney, you go through your assets and liabilities, you figure out who you owe money to, how much has to be paid back, if any, and so forth. And a Chapter 13 is a repayment plan. So secured creditors get paid back if there's an arrearage, say on a mortgage, that gets paid back over, say, a 60-month period. An arrearage on a car loan, the same thing. But unsecured creditors like credit card companies, medical bills, they may not have to get paid back at all. It depends upon the person's financial situation. The criteria is that in a Chapter 13, the creditors, the unsecured creditors like credit card companies and so forth, have to get more than they would if the case was in a Chapter 7. After that, there's papers to fill out. It's called a petition. That tells that's the first document that's filed. There's a Social Security statement that's filed confidentially with the court so that nobody gets a hold of your Social Security number. You have to file bankruptcy schedules notifying the court of all of your property, real property, that's like a house and so forth, personal property, cars, bank accounts, clothing, pots and pans and dishes, whatever you have. From the property, certain property is called exempt property, means that you get to keep it no matter what, even if it's a Chapter 7 case. And in a Chapter 13 case, you get to keep all of your property. You also have to file a matrix listing all of the creditors and a statement of your current income, statement of your financial affairs, which talks about how much money you made for the last couple of years, whether you've been involved in any lawsuits, whether you've been involved in any businesses, and so forth. Once all the documents are filed, then the court will schedule it first, but the next step in the process is you go to what's called a Section 341 meeting of creditors. A Section 341 meeting of creditors, it's basically a 5-minute procedure. They used to do it in person in the bankruptcy court. Now it's done by telephone or by Zoom. And the Chapter 13 trustee is going to ask about your property. And more importantly, they're worried about whether you have enough regular income to be able to pay to make the Chapter 13 plan payments that you promised to pay. When you file a Chapter 13 plan originally, that's when you notify the court as to how you want to pay back the creditors, in part or in full. Creditors have the opportunity to object to the plan, and the objections gets heard as what's called a confirmation hearing. That's the second court appearance. Right now, they're also being held by telephone or Zoom. And at that point, if nobody objects and if everything is fine, then the court will confirm a plan. And the criteria for confirming a plan is that the creditors get more than they would in a Chapter 7 case. That's the plan, paid over 60 months. And at the end of 60 months, you get a discharge. If there's objections, then we have to work on overcoming the objections, talk to the creditors, work out whatever there's to work out. So a lot of times the trustees will have specific objections, and you have to work those out as well. If you got any questions about how the Chapter 13 process works, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. I'll be glad to answer your questions.